this. What's up, crew? I don't have a microphone. Let's not do this. Got a mic. Man, things are just, nowhere near what I'd like it to be, but whatever. What's up, crew? Welcome to another video. My name is John Connie, aka Big Man Syndrome. And if you're not a part of the crew, completely understand. It just doesn't make any more sense. I don't even know why I'm doing this. But to be completely honest, the reason why I'm doing this is because I like to. I really just like to do this. I like to make videos for myself, and today especially, I've been editing client stuff and been just getting more and more impacted by the business side to where doing this is a nice break. Do something for myself. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to edit it, but hey, that's part of the challenge. Continuing the series that I started when I bought this book, Own the Day by Aubrey Marcus. I bought it because, long story short, it's basically what I just explained. Things are getting really wild. I had a specific moment happen when I went down to San Diego to shoot Jean and Sam's wedding, where I hadn't touched my camera gear for a week. And it was because prior to that, I was vlogging every day. I was picking up a lot of different projects, and it just sort of all came crashing down to where I could not do this anymore. And I started to feel really, really stressed by the amount of work that I was getting. And it still hasn't slowed down. I have a monthly client that I'm doing a lot of content for. I have a bunch of small little projects that come up here and there. Just a ton of things that are happening right now. I got the book Own the Day by Aubrey Marcus, hoping that it could provide a little bit of insight. As most of you know who've been following along, I've had many different challenges that I tried to do to see if it would, provide a hopeful fix, quick fix, long fix, whatever type of fix, and only to find myself failing. What was really interesting about this change too, and I mentioned this in the first review of the first chapter, he says that there's so many quick fixes out there. There's so many 30 days to this, week to that, lose weight and blah blah blah, but instead we should be focusing on trying to do things that can sort of impact together. So his prescription is to follow along in the book and start to implement them as you want to, and then at the end of it he has a full prescription that he wants you to pick a day, own it, and then it's less likely for you to do all of what he prescribes, but at least one thing, two things might stick, and those two things will have a greater impact than some random challenge. Looking forward to getting to the end of it. It's definitely taken me a long time because, like I said, I have a lot of projects going on, and I'd like to do this every time I read a chapter so it's fresh. Whatever, rambling. It's gonna be a long video. So chapter 3 is all about eating more fats and also implementing a little bit of fasting, I think. And it's pretty timely. Right now in my life, I've gone through a bunch of different types of diets. I've been able to successfully do keto for long enough to feel the effects and benefits of it, but for whatever reason, I've been having trouble recently getting back into it. Obviously, if you follow Aubrey Marcus, he is heavily into the keto world. High fat, low carb, middle protein, sort of just like maintenance style protein, but primarily your energy comes from fat. And for this episode, I wanted to say, this chapter obviously was a little bit, redundant in what I've read before, because there was a lot of things in there that I've already picked up from things like Genius Foods and other keto channels that I follow. But it was still a good refresher talking about some of the things that have to do with consuming a high-fat diet. So rather than talking too much about the chapter within Own the Day, like I said, he primarily talks about one major factor, and that is eliminating high-carb options like bagels, or he talks about Pop-Tarts in his own personal experience, and replacing that with high-fat stuff like avocados, egg yolks, or if you cannot get your hands on those high-fat, high-quality nutritional items, just skip breakfast altogether. There's this big myth, and I believe in this as well, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and it really isn't. I can definitely tell you from experience myself, if I've skipped breakfast, I'm not feeling like crap. So either pick a really good starter to your day, or don't do anything at all and wait until the lunchtime time frame to eat your first meal. That's the chapter. I definitely enjoyed it still, even though a lot of the information did feel like I kind of already picked up from something else. But another piece of relevant bit happened because somebody else I follow you may follow him as well, Mark Bell, Super Training Gym, posted something yesterday, which today is Wednesday, November 5th. He posted this on the 4th. Let me find it really quick. It made a lot of sense, and this is why I just constantly or consistently love the idea of keto. Well, he posted this a while ago. Fat is our first dairy fuel source, not our secondary. We were made to produce ketones, and we were made to endure fasting. That's the post. I don't know what the driving is. He's probably talking. I didn't really listen to what he was saying as on. I enjoy a lot of the content that Mark puts out. He's definitely his team is getting better at producing video, which is super awesome. But he is sort of a motivational speaker, and I think I've mentioned before, I never really jump on the bandwagon of strong motivational speaking stuff, because just like the whole karate thing and taking things seriously, for me, meditation is very, very difficult. But a lot of the stuff that he talks about, every once in a while, has a gem for me. And this was one of them, and it's like sort of the argument in the corner of keto is that our bodies produce ketones. In general, when you wake up in the morning, you are running on ketones because you have fasted for long enough to where your body most likely depleted itself of glycogen, which is your fast fuel source, and starts producing ketones from the fat around the liver, which then fuels your brain. And within that process too, I believe, if I remember correctly, that process also helps clean the brain of the goo that it accumulates throughout the day. If your diet is healthy throughout the day, and then you fast while sleeping, and you hit that point of generating ketones, then you're going to wake up more cognitively ready. So the fact that our body does that should point towards the idea that it is an important process to produce ketones. So if we're constantly feeding ourselves sugar or high carbs in the morning, especially the oatmeals, the cereals, the bagels, the donuts, which I love donuts, we are sort of eliminating that incredible process, because as soon as you spike insulin in your blood sugar, which is what carbs do, you are telling your liver to stop producing ketones. We no longer need them. We have an incredibly fast fuel source coming in, so let's just stop burning energy trying to make ketones. In some cases it's okay, right? If you are a high performance athlete and you need to perform that day, then a good sugary source might be your best bet. There's a lot of ketogenic athletes out there that are thriving. There's plenty of people who are using carb as the source. It's sort of safe to say that if our body produces it, why shouldn't that be a primary source for fuel? And we were built to endure fasting. So this is sort of like one of those thought processes that you can either believe it, take it with a grain of salt, or whatever. But like, when we were the Paleolithic days, there were times probably when those individuals weren't able to eat, didn't have food readily available, and if they did, it was very small amounts. So they were probably traveling long distances to get to their next meal, in which case they were fasted. Our bodies evolved to be able to fast and produce ketones as a fuel source in connection to that fasting. So if you go long enough without eating a carbohydrate or a protein that can be used for both, or a fat, then your body's going to have to grab from its resources and create ketones. So I thought that was kind of an interesting parallel, where I had just read the chapter from the book on the day, and Mark posting this that had to do with the body really being most efficient with a high-fat diet. Quick update, I guess, for life. I haven't been able to fix my diet at all. Every morning I wake up and I try to have a either a black coffee, or I do a butter 4 sigmatic mixture to kick off the day. And then for whatever reason, high stress, Madison, being a challenge for the day, I just go straight for something easy, something tasty, something whatever. Trying to eliminate energy drinks, I feel like that's a trigger. The problem is addictive personality, and I gotta have my energy drink in the morning. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about that. Anyways, so chapter 3, all about increasing the amount of fat that you have in your diet, demystifying sort of the rumors and BS that's out there from the health industry, heavily fueled by the sugar industry. So yeah, if you want to pick up this book and also help out the channel, I have a link down below from Amazon. I think it would be an incredible read for anybody who's looking to try to change their day, to try to own it. there might be a lot of insight in there that you may not have thought of yourself, or just reinforces some of the things that you've heard from around the block. But anyways, I'm gonna stop there because I feel like I am just all over the place as usual. House stuff's moving along nicely, actually. Let's do this really quick. And we actually have some scheduled time frames now. We're gonna be going up there December 6th to take a final look at everything once it's finished being built. And then on December 13th is our scheduled close date, to which we will most likely be moving in that weekend. We're gonna make a day trip out to do all the paperwork as long as it's ready to be done. And then we're gonna come back home, start packing up the U-Haul, probably finish up packing on Saturday, and I might have a friend come up, drive up with me to Sacramento, and the next day just start unloading it into the house. So we will hopefully be officially moved in on the 15th of December, which is incredibly exciting. Like, if this is dust floating around behind me, that's gonna be gone in the new garage. The office is gonna be clean again. I'm gonna have my zones. Oh, can't wait. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, join the crew. And if you're not new, tap and go that like button, leave a comment, share this video. Grab this book, because it'll help you on the day. And it helps the channel. Till the next one. See you later, crew. Bye-bye.